Yo, what's good, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the DLloyd Sports Podcast. I am your host, DLloyd. We are joined by our favorite guest. It's probably just a co-host at this point. My man Highfield is here with us today, ready to discuss. We have some transactions that happen in the NFL, which is somewhat rare, but we got a few of those. We have a head coach that stepped down today. We then, of course, want to give our thoughts and opinions of the Thursday night football game between the San Francisco 49ers and the New York Giants. But before we kick off, Highfield, do you want to say what's up to the people? And do you have any crazy stories outside of the main stories that you want to hit up?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Doing pretty well. Had a decent week. Birthday's tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
I get one thing off my chest.
What's that?
I don't know if anybody else is in the same boat as me, but I cannot stand the Rams and Sean. I will never forgive him for what he did on Sunday.
If you don't know what he's talking about, the over-under was 7.5 points. It was a 10-point game. It was 4 seconds left in the game?
3 or 4 seconds.
3 or 4 seconds left in the game. Just throw a Hail Mary, try to score a touchdown. But McVay didn't want to do any of that. He decided, why not kick a field goal to make it a 7-point game? So everybody who bet the over, they did not get it. The 49ers did not get it. So that is devastating news. I apologize that you lost your money on that one. According to Mad Dog on ESPN, McVay said he was worried about the point differential later on in the season. So who knows? Maybe those 3 points breaks the tiebreaker one way or another. That'll be interesting to see. But condolences to your bet, man. That was rough. You were highly upset, and it was pretty funny. I didn't mean to laugh at your pain. It was somewhat funny though.
Yeah, parlay killer for sure.
For sure, man. Our parlays have not been good the last few days. But real quick, somewhat breaking news, because this kind of happened right before we decided to go live or record this podcast, rather. Deion Sanders announced in an interview that Shedeur Sanders would not be going to the NFL. He is a junior. He is eligible after the season to go to the NFL. He will not be doing that. And instead, he will be coming back to Colorado for his senior season. Now, the reason that he gave behind that is all of the projections have Caleb Williams going ahead. And he says Shedeur is not a number 2 behind nobody. He is the Maybach. He is not going to be no number 2. So he's going to come back to school and then be the top dog the following season. What are your opinions on that, on Shedeur Sanders coming back for another year?
I think it's the right move. It's just going to get him more screen time, more publicity, more hype. Yeah. As long as he can stay on the train he is now, they're going to get better players in there next year, even more so too.
For sure.
So if they get like you said, he's going to get some offensive linemen and defensive linemen and some more dogs on the line, on the interior. Yeah. And that could even help him more next year when they actually go, and who knows who they're going to play next year with all the conference changes and everything going on. But for now, it looks like they're going to be playing some big dogs. So you might as well get ready.
I think they're going to the Big 12, correct?
Yeah.
Big 12 for Colorado?
Yeah, I think their schedule is going to be Big 12 next year, 2024.
So Big 12 for Colorado. They will be leaving the now what we call Pac-2. Everybody
Pac-2, baby.
Pac-2. Can't wait for Pac-2 action to kick off next season. So yeah, you have a tougher schedule. But I think I agree with the decision. This is a stacked quarterback class. I do think if Shedeur came out right now, you're realistically looking at even 3 in terms of quarterbacks. I still think the NFL will consider Drake May over Shedeur Sanders currently. So why not come back, especially with the NIL, the way it is set up? You're still going to make crazy money. I mean, I think I seen reports he was already making $3 million this season. That could easily go up to $4-5 million if they look good and start winning games. So I mean, why make money, dominate the opposition? Like you said, I think the recruiting class for Colorado is going to be crazy, especially now with all the publicity. You thought the transfers was crazy before. You're definitely going to get transfers now. I think that
some people are just waiting to get proven to see if they're actually good or not. Now that they know,
you're hesitant, right? Like, is he really a good coach? Is this really going to work? I don't really know. And if you were not believers, Deion's going to let you know to believe. I think now it's starting to, people are starting to turn hit. Even if they lose to Oregon and USC, I think they have done enough already to show that they are legitimate and they are coming. And if you want to jump on that wave, why not? And they had Bryce Underwood. If you don't know, he's the #1 quarterback in the 2025 draft recruiting class. Rather, he was there taking pictures with Deion over the weekend. So that's showing right there that they have big plans potentially.
Yeah.
When it comes to that class. So yeah, like you said, I agree. I think why not come back one more year? Now Travis Hunter, I think he probably need to go get out of there.
Yeah,
Just
get the NFL money while you can, while you're healthy.
yeah, I just don't see that. Is he eligible? He's eligible for this class, right? This NFL
I
class.
I think so. I think he is.
All right, that's what
Yeah,
I
because he
thought he
played
was.
2 years at was it 2 years at Jackson State and then this year at
That's what I.
Colorado?
That's what I. Oh, he's a sophomore. No, he has one more
Oh,
year.
he
All
played
right.
1 year at Jackson
So
State.
he played
Okay.
1 year there. All right. So yeah. So they're both going to come back. So yeah, definitely running back.
Makes you feel good about Colorado for next year and then the year after that, and it kind of makes you feel like because you didn't know how if Deion was going to stay at that kind of school after his sons left, or if he's going to upgrade to an even bigger school after that. But if he's recruiting guys for 2025 like that, then it makes you feel pretty good about Colorado.
And it's the Big 12. The Big 12 loses Texas. They lose Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's a big dog. Yeah.
The next big dog in the Big 12 is TCU, and you just beat them. So, I mean, you are now going to insert yourself as the top dog. You don't have to worry about USC no more. You don't have to worry about Oregon no more. Right. Why not? And we know historically who plays defense in the Big 12. Let's keep it real. So you're going to put up crazy numbers. I mean, he put up bigger numbers against TCU than he did Colorado State.
That's true.
Why not? Why not run it back and see what happens? So I agree with it. And from what I've seen right now, I don't have anything telling me he shouldn't be a top quarterback selected in the draft. So
well, it's probably smart because you got Caleb Williams, you got Drake May, you got guys like on the rise like Michael Penix. Now he might not be an
He's
NFL
been having
guy,
a great year.
He's showing out this year. So like the more names right now, and you don't really hear anybody for next year yet. So if he does stay next year, has another great season, then who knows? He could go top 5, top 10, #1 quarterback.
If you have 2 good years, I think it's undeniable at that point, and it will definitely help your stock. While, like I said, getting paid to keep winning, I mean,
right, and on the
sounds like it sounds like a good gig to me, man. I'll definitely sign up for that any day. But moving on to the NFL, that's the main thing we do definitely want to talk about. We had a trade today. We had a trade that went down. We expected it would happen, or maybe he will get released, but they were able to find a trade partner. The Los Angeles Rams have traded running back Cam Akers to the Minnesota Vikings for, let's see if we can pull this up again, the exact thing. The Vikings are getting Cam Akers and a 2026 7th round draft pick, and the Rams are getting back in exchange a 2026 6th round draft pick. So they move up from pick 7 to 6. They give up Cam Akers essentially to do that. What are your initial thoughts? Because Cam Akers, I still think a guy who has some talent. He's been wanting out of LA for a while now. He finally got his wish. He is out of there, and he's going to a team that kind of needed a running back.
Yeah. So I feel pretty good about it for the Vikings. The Rams just wanted to cut ties. I mean, even the coach, Sean McVay, came out and said, yeah, we didn't play him or didn't assign him to the active squad this week because we were thinking about trading him anyway.
Yeah.
So, but the Vikings, I've watched both their games so far this year, and they need all the help they can get. Madison's fumbled a couple of times. He's looked rough.
Can we say rip Madison fantasy owners?
Oh, man.
That's rough, man.
Yeah,
that's rough.
I do have him. It's been a rough watch, and then you get this on top of that. So if he's healthy, he could play decent. Then you never know. They could take off. That team needs all the help they can get. Their offensive line needs some help too. So if you have an active running back who can catch the ball in the backfield and just get you some yards and some dump offs just to protect the quarterback a little bit from all the blitzers, then should be all right.
Yeah, I mean, you get Cam Akers, who's a former 2nd round draft pick out of Florida State. Was always, a highly touted running back, even in high school, right? So you get a guy that the talent could potentially be there. He hasn't fully put it together in the NFL. He did have 786 rushing yards in 2022, giving you 4.2 yards a carry. So he looks like he's just around that, solid running back stage. But for 1.2 million as a cap hit,
right?
I mean, for a move down from pick 6 to 7th round, I don't think that is. You're not giving up anything. And the Vikings are a team that's ready to compete now, right? And you could be a running back threat away. I don't think he fully just dominates the running back carries over Madison, but
Right.
he is going to be involved. And it could be a hot hand type of thing. Who's running better? We'll give both of them looks evenly, and whoever runs away with the job gets it. But why not just spin the tires on it? Take a shot in the dark. If it works out, it works out. If it does not work out, then you didn't lose very much. You just took the chance, right, on the guy that's people have loved since high school. So
Right.
I'm all
Young
for
guy,
it.
good deal still. So
Absolutely. I mean, I'm all for it. And the Vikings, to me, like I said, they're not very far away, even though, probably not the most ideal start in terms of how they've looked. But I
right.
still think with Kirk there, I can't believe I'm saying that, but Kirk finally has my respect. I think with Kirk there, those receivers, the defense definitely needs to step up, but that defensive line, I think is good. I think they're good. They're in a good spot. They're in a good spot. You get him acclimated rather quickly. Give him a few plays even this weekend. Nothing crazy. Give him 5 carries. Call it a day. I think they could build something there, and I like the fit. I definitely like the fit there.
And once Akers got out of McVay's doghouse last year, the last like 6 or 7 games of the season last year, once he's getting the rock more consistently and getting carries and getting a feel for it and being the main guy, he looked pretty good.
He looked all right. He definitely looked all right. He didn't look good week 1, but he looked all right last year.
Yeah, right.
So we'll see what Cam Akers they end up getting. But it's worth it. I would make that trade 10 times out of 10. Now, speaking of fits, we had another transaction that happened in the running back room. Kareem Hunt is returning to his former team, the Cleveland Browns, because we've seen the Nick Chubb, that terrible injury that happened Monday night. He is out for the season at least. All they have is Jerome Ford, so they brought in Kareem Hunt. They have announced that Ford will be the number 1 running back. So Hunt is going to come back into that number 2 spot, but that's exactly where he played last season behind Chubb. He still gave you, I believe, 400 rushing yards, gave you like 30 receptions. I could still see that type of volume, maybe even more on the running side. I'm not sure if they're comfortable giving Ford, even though he did look good Monday. I'm not sure if they give him still, the 20, 25 carries that we've seen from Chubb. But you're familiar, and Kareem Hunt, I think, played this kind of perfectly. He got $4 million. He sat out. He said no to the Saints. He said no essentially to the Colts. He essentially even said no to the Vikings. He waited for a chance, and this was a great spot. Now, how do you feel about Kareem Hunt reuniting with his team in Cleveland?
I like this a lot. He's been there before. He knows the guys. He knows the offense. It's not like it's going to take him a long time to get acclimated. Like you said, he's got a guy in front of him who looked pretty good and drew him forward for a game. So if he has a couple games where he looks pretty decent and then he hits a wall, then Hunt could come in obviously and take the load, and he could be a main guy. We've seen it before. So I like the sounding a lot. It just made a lot of sense, honestly, with what they're going through, being a running back fan after your main guy gets devastating nasty. I have a knee injury myself, so seeing like that stuff like that just makes me queasy. So and I was watching the game because I'm a Steelers fan, and it was tough go.
It was tough. Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about it. Were we talking about it as that happened? I think we did, or we could have talked about it last night, right after the injury happened.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if we seen it live a little bit after we did talk about it, but yeah, that's a tough injury. I said earlier in another video that there are reports saying that it could be potentially like a career-ending thing. Is what one of the former Miami Dolphins doctors said, but of course he has not treated Chubb, so of course still speculation, but that looks tough to come back from. And you were the main one talking about the age 28 wall that running backs hit. Chubb will be 28 December 27th. So he will be 28, and does he come back after that the same Nick Chubb? Who knows? And it's the same knee he had the ACL surgery on.
Yeah, in college where he tore ACL, MCL, PCL,
everything. The knee was gone.
Yeah.
So
man, it's gonna be, if he comes back, it's gonna be amazing. He's not gonna be he might be half the guy he was before, but we'll see. Like I said, like you were talking about before with the reference to the 28 thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where I saw that, where I read that, but there's some stat that basically says once running backs hit age 28, it's not fall off a cliff bad, but it's like a significant drop bad, and touchdowns and yardage and yards per carry and everything just drops off significantly enough to where you can notice it consistently. So that's a worry.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. And Nick Chubb, top back, but that definitely hurts. But I do like the Kareem Hunt signing, especially for the Browns. They're in a win now situation. They don't even have their first round pick thanks to Deshaun Watson. That's going to Houston. So I mean, there's no reason to tank. Yeah. You don't have money after the season, so you pretty much have to go for it because you're gonna have to lose like Amari Cooper or somebody big is gonna have to leave just for salary cap reasons at the end of the year. So why not? Why not bring back in Kareem Hunt? Give him whatever cap space you have left, $4 million. They probably should give him an open book, like, hey man, sign something up to $4 million. He was like, sure, I'll take all four. And they're like, all right, well, welcome. So
the other problem is with the NFL nowadays too. Like Stefanski might be coaching for his job the way the last couple of years have gone, because 3 or 4 years in the league, you don't produce but one playoff when they might dump you.
And they're pretty much in bed with Deshaun Watson, right? Like,
no.
So who are you going to get rid of? You can't get rid of Deshaun Watson if it doesn't work. So you're going to be forced to bring in a coach that could work with him if you can't do it. And you know, I'm a huge Deshaun Watson guy. I'm kind of, I'm 1 foot out. Like I might be jumping off the bandwagon here soon. I gave myself to the Houston Texans game in 2 weeks. If he doesn't look good there, then I'm fully out, because that has every motivation to play good is against Houston in 2 weeks. And if he doesn't, then I'm fully out.
Did you see the burner account thing? The suspected burner account
from Watson?
Yeah. Did you see this?
No.
So there's a rumor. There was a Twitter or X account that was created literally like the night of the game.
And I'm gonna call it Twitter. It was Twitter before I'm calling it Twitter.
It was a Twitter account that was literally created the night after. Like it was like created the day of the game, and it only responded to tweets after the game about how bad Deshaun played, and it pointed out the coaching, and the name was like Free Deshaun, and then it was like his location was like the town that he was born in, or that he was raised in, or something like that. It was like a couple things that were just like red flags, and people screenshot it obviously because the internet's insane, and they just see it, and they're like, "This was created yesterday. This is his hometown. The only thing he's doing is defending Deshaun Watson." Like, is this Deshaun Watson? And now people are
so allegedly Deshaun Watson has a burner. Yeah, maybe allegedly, yeah, for sure. that is interesting. And bringing up the coaching is interesting because I don't know. I think we could have talked about it before. I was like, you have to build your offense around Deshaun because of the money you paid. Even though Nick Chubb is your best player, the money you paid, and I don't know if these two really mesh as like the perfect duo, because Chubb wants, to run dive all day, right? Like north south.
25 carries.
Deshaun Watson wants to be back in shotgun. So I mean, even though they could both do what each other is good at, the offense is not built around Deshaun Watson. That will have to change for sure moving forward without Nick Chubb, in my opinion. And that's where coaching is going to matter because you can't run the same offense without Nick Chubb and then expect Deshaun Watson to figure it out. You're going to have to borrow from what you've seen at Clemson, what you've seen in Houston, and kind of, take things from that and put it in your system last second with a few weeks of practice and say, figure it out, guys. We got to win games in that tough division where every team plays defense.
Yeah, especially now too, when he's got to be the focal point and Chubb's gone. You have to do something different because it's not working, and you got to put it on Deshaun Watson now. So that's gonna be tough.
And if he doesn't win this season, he's going to need 3 burner accounts because it's going to be crazy. I mean, you have a season where Burrow isn't Burrow; he's injured. We already know about Kenny Pickett. I don't think that many people believe in Kenny Pickett. And then you have Lamar, who's been playing okay, but that's really like the main competition, right? Is the Ravens now and Lamar. Especially if Joe Burrow doesn't play, what they say he could potentially not play this week.
Yeah, it's a week or two to try to get healthier.
Yeah, to try to get that calf ready. Right. So if that's the case, then the next guy is Deshaun Watson, and if you don't step up, it's going to, like I said, you're going to need a lot of burners because Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, they're going to be after you, bro. They're going to be after you.
And when your defense is that good, that's just a missed opportunity.
For sure. I mean, you got weapons. Even receiving, you got receiving weapons. Now you don't have a great running back. You have it's good enough offensive line. You got to get it done. You got to get it done. But for me, you have 2 weeks. You have 2 weeks. Just get it done against Houston. If not, then I'm coming for you, and you really need.
Well, that was
need a burner.
Excuse last year was like, oh yeah, he only got 6 games. He missed like most of the season.
That's what I say. Yeah, I gave him that.
Now it's looking still kind of similar to what it was last year, rather than the old Deshaun Watson in Houston. So it's starting to get a little red flaggy. But the problem, like you said, is you're stuck with Deshaun at least this season, next season. And then after that, you probably have 2 more years of crazy money if you cut him. So it's a problem.
The worst of all, I'm stuck with Deshaun. I have him in 2 fantasy leagues. Like, Deshaun, figure it out, bro. Like, I trusted you. I trusted you, man.
To run for a first down.
Do something. Do something. You should grab a face mask now, bro. Like, do something. Do something that's gonna give me some points. We definitely need that. Now, speaking of quarterbacks, let's talk about Justin Fields, because Justin Fields was a MVP candidate last season. They had the first overall pick. I don't know how you're MVP candidate and you have the first overall pick, but I digress, right? So people talked about it. They had the first overall pick. Based off what we've seen last year, they decided we're not going to go get a quarterback. We're going to trade that pick, get assets, bring in DJ Moore, get a bunch of draft picks, build around Justin Fields, give him more weapon, give him better blocking, and he'll be better this season. It seems like he has taken a step back this year. He hasn't had any great games. He looks hesitant throwing the football. They've only ran him 13 times, which is crazy to me. Like, he needs to be running 13 times a game.
Right.
They're not running him for whatever that reason is. And he hasn't looked that good. And I think he has heard some of the criticism. And when he was asked about it today, he pretty much alluded that it could be a coaching problem, that he wasn't feeling like himself. He felt like he was playing robotic football. And I believe you said he alluded to it was coaching that's making them think or not making them play freely.
Yeah. From what I basically read from the article, it was saying that he was trying to be a system quarterback and trying to fit within the system. And the coaches basically were saying to him, like, trust the system, it'll come, blah, blah. And then obviously last year went terrible. This year hasn't gone great. So I think from what he said, we'll see if it changes or not. He said he's going to go back to playing freely and not thinking about it and playing naturally, which means a lot more running, a lot more athletic play, rather than trying to force a pocket passer, which he is definitely not.
So I don't understand even why you won't want to essentially make him a pocket passer. I know he could throw the football, and we'll talk about that in a second. I know he can throw the ball, but the runs, he wasn't just running. Like, these were electric runs. Like, he was making grown men look like they don't know how to tackle, look like they were slow. And we know just about everybody on those defenses are not slow. They just can't catch Justin Fields. So, like, he had electric running, like stuff we haven't seen since, Lamar Jackson a couple years ago, Michael Vick, like that type of elk that he was with in terms of running. We're now seeing that now, so they do want him to throw the ball. You've seen him at Ohio State, being an Ohio State fan. We know he can throw the football. We just talked about one of Ohio State's key plays the last few years was that deep shot against Clemson, where he threw it right on the dot, like exactly where he needed to throw it. It's a great throw down the field. So we know he can't throw. I know he's not the greatest thrower in the world, but what I see now is just like a hesitant guy. And I don't know if it's being hit a lot. Some of those sacks you do also attribute to him just holding on to the ball. If it's a confidence issue, because I've seen that with Mariota, just lose full confidence and things just go left. In your opinion, why did we see this regression? Do you agree with him that it's coaching, or do you think it could be a bunch of other factors?
So I think it might be coaching, because like you look at me and you, for example, we didn't believe in Anthony Richardson coming out of Florida. And I'm not saying that he looks great, but he looks decent, but it's coaching. You're giving him the right spot, the right play. Don't make a lot of reads. Don't think about it too much. Just let it fly. And I think with Fields in this offense, I think the coach put too much on him and is not playing to his strengths, is just playing to his system, and it's not working for him. And I think the problem that they're going to have is that it doesn't look like they have a lot of design runs or design plays for him to get out in open field and make a play. So it's going to be a lot of him forcing it or scrambling after reading the first read, which might cause you to miss an open guy later on, or you're just so focused, you're not looking downfield to make a play. You're just trying to focus on breaking out of a sack and going for 10 yards. So it's a blessing and a curse because it makes him look good. And the coaching is probably saying, oh, we want to keep him healthy and keep him upright because when he's healthy and on the field, he's good. But when you hold him back and you don't let him do what he's good at, he doesn't play good. He's not going to have a long career, and you're not going to be there either. So you're in a conundrum. Like, you might as well just go ahead and let him do what he's good at.
Yeah, I agree. Like, and that was my question. Like, do you believe in holding back a mobile quarterback because of the fear that he could get injured? But in doing that, and think we've seen time and time again of RG3 quarterbacks where they try to make you a pocket passer. The threat of the run is why you are at that level. Not saying these guys can't throw the ball, but that is what makes them scary, right? Is that you can run the football. I feel in my mind, it's almost like, I think I could have used this analogy before. If I told Stephen Curry, don't shoot so many threes, I'm sure he's still a good NBA player, but he's not Steph. You know what I mean? Like, he's not one of the best players of all time. I tell him, hey, chill out on the threes, man. Just, bring it in a little bit. Just do some mid-range shots. Like, no, that's what makes him great. I think it is different because it is a fear of injury, but I think that is kind of what you get, with these type of guys. Even in basketball, like a Russell Westbrook type, his athleticism makes him great. You do know you have a shorter lifespan with those type of players because the first thing that goes when you age is your athleticism, right? It's not your shooting, is your athleticism. That's the same sort of thing with these quarterbacks. They're not going to play till 45 like Tom Brady. They're going to play till 32, 33 like a Cam Newton. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to play as long.
Right.
But for those 8 to 10 years that you have them, I will utilize them. Even if you have to do kind of what the Ravens are doing and you get backup quarterbacks that fit that same mold, right? That can run and do things like that. You're kind of covered, but you have to understand that's the risk that I take. But when he's on his game and he's doing his stuff, we can win a lot of games. So I don't agree with changing that. Are you kind of on the same page? Like, just let him run. Let him do his thing.
Yeah. You got to let him do what he's good at. You might not have been there to draft him, or like the GM might have been a little bit different, and like might not be their guy. But if you're going to be a good coach and you want to win games and you want to keep your job, you got to do what you guys are good at. And he's super uber athletic, and like you said, it'll space the field. It'll bring linebackers and safeties up. It'll give them more one-on-one shots down the field because people don't respect him throwing the ball right now. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, no.
When they drop back, like, safety's eyes get big because they're like, oh, this is a pick six waiting to happen. We're just throwing the ball. But if he is threatening a read option, bringing the safety down because the outside linebacker bit on the fake, and now it's a one-on-one with the safety, that's a perfect for a little slant or a go route over top. Next thing you know, that's 6 to the house. So it just makes the whole offense work, and you're kind of handicapping him when you're doing that because he's not a sit back and just throw it down the field 30 times and go 30 for 35. He's more of like let's go 22 for 25. Let's get 200 yards and a touchdown and then run for 70 yards, 80 yards, and make a big play. He's a playmaker. So you just got to get him the rock in space.
For sure. So I agree with him. I think it could be coaching, a lot of it. I know he tried to backtrack a little bit afterwards. He said it was taken out of context.
Right.
Which, I mean, you say coaching, so I don't know how out of context that necessarily is. But I'm sure they had a talk with them. I'm sure they're fine. That's probably also why he went out there.
Game plan was the game plan or the system. The game plan, the system were the words that he'd like to use.
Yeah. So, I'm sure, that's how he feels deep down. At the end of the day, I mean, you're going to be held responsible because you are the quarterback, and the coach is going to have to be held responsible. You know how this goes. Somebody's going to find the scapegoat somewhere. But I agree. Just from the outside, it looks like, without knowing exactly every play call, right? It looks like a lot of times the coaching could be, not utilizing him the best in the world. And I believe, like you said, great coaching isn't having the best scheme, is being able to scheme the players that you have the best ways possible. I think
Right.
that's what make a good coach or a great coach, right? Rather than just being a good coach because I have a scheme and it works, but if things go left, I don't know how to adapt. So hopefully they figure that out. But sticking in Chicago, let's talk about the defensive side of the football because defensive coordinator Alan Williams, he has decided to step down. And he is no longer the defensive coordinator in Chicago. We don't know the exact reasons. I believe it was mental health issues.
Yes, something. It was like mental health / health and family. So I don't know if like something happened, but the other thing that kind of throws up the red flag now, if he has something wrong mentally or he has something wrong with his health, I hope he gets healthy. T's and P's. Let's hope everything's cool. But the Eberflus called plays on the defense the last week. I think this guy called week 1, and then Eberflus didn't like how the game was.
No,
play
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's later. That's late in the article. I just read a second ago. Apparently, he resigned to focus on his health and his family. But in the article, it also says that Eberflus took over play calling duties this year. So they're saying that might be like a secret, or like not a secret, but a subliminal reason.
So he took somewhat of a demotion, like however you want to slice it up, right? With the play calling duties, and you don't have play calling duties the next week, you took somewhat of a demotion, right? So is this, in your opinion, like we don't know, we're speculating, of course, right? Is this in one of those "you didn't fire me, I quit" type of moves?
Yeah. I mean, it very well may be because I'm looking at the quote right now, and it says that Matt Eberflus took over defensive play calling duties on Sunday against the Bucks, and said earlier the week on Wednesday that he would continue to call the defense this Sunday against the Chiefs if there's no resolution. So there wasn't obviously a resolution. He left, so
he left.
Yeah.
So there's something deeper than
Yeah,
that.
something's up with that, and all the quotes coming out, like some of the people, like some of the players aren't happy, and a couple of guys are tweeting a couple things, and yeah, it just looks like it's a kind of a mess over there real early, and that's not a great sign for a team that won like 3 games last year and had the number.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think the mental health, like, hopefully we're wrong in that, right? It's not a real issue, but I think it is a cover up issue because who is going to come out there and talk trash about that, right? Like, you
Right,
can't.
yeah, exactly.
Who's going to
Not
ask
look
more
bad.
details about it? You're not. You know what I mean? Like, what exactly has you depressed, right? Like, nobody's going to say that. So it could be more of a scapegoat. There were those rumors I told you earlier about his home being raided, and it could have been something else. They did say that was false. So that is good. I mean, those got wild. They talked about Peanut Tillman was the FBI agent that called them and told them that they had to go to the facility. It was a lot of crazy stuff, man. So can't trust everything on Twitter. That it was wild, bro. I don't know what was going on Twitter, but people ran with that for sure. So it's good that didn't take place. But the Bears as an organization is a mess, and it's been a mess for a while, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. Really, they're just not moving like a team. Like we talked about Deion Sanders, and you could tell, like, okay, he has a vision. Like this is going to move in a certain direction. Right. I had the opposite feeling with the Bears. Like I just don't see this working out long term. Somebody's going to have to go. Multiple people may have to go. GMs, coaches, quarterbacks. Like eventually, it might be let's figure something else out.
The other thing that's scary with them is like they've been mediocre for so long, 20 years now, since the 80s or whatever, that like 20, 30 years, you might want to start thinking like, is the ownership the right ownership for this? Because if you keep making the wrong mistake over and over and over and over again, how long can you do that before it's like, maybe we can't make the right choice? Like, it's just scary.
That's a possibility. But look at Cowboys fans. They've been holding back on to the 96 Super Bowl, and they've been thinking things are going to change every year. And at the end of the day, what does Stephen A. Smith say? Like, don't worry, at some point,
just bet on it.
Some point it's going to happen. So they will get in their own way. So it could be a situation like that. That's something I never really thought about, is just ownership in Chicago. That could be a real thing. Now, last thing we want to talk about before we head out, let's talk about the Thursday night football game. We have the New York Giants against the 2-0 San Francisco 49ers. Now, I laughed. The reason why I laughed is because we talked during the 49 or the Giants and Cardinals game last week, and I kept saying, I have a feeling the Giants just might not be very good. I just don't think, like, I know the Cowboys are supposed to be the creme de la creme, right? An elite defense, a good offense. I understand that. But I really just think the Giants are not a good football team this season. I don't know exactly what happened and what's different than last season, but they have not shown me anything to be different. And the 49ers have shown me to still be a pretty good football team. So
right.
I don't see any way the Giants win this game. Do you have any theory on how the Giants can win this or pull this win off?
No, I don't think so. Especially with Saquon out. Shanahan came out. Did you hear what he said about Thursday night games? I think it was yesterday or today.
No, what did he say?
In his press conference, he basically said that Thursday night games are a joke because they shorten the week so much that you don't have time to recover or game plan. So it's basically going out there and you're betting on your best players and your health. And
that's true.
Right now, if we're going player for player on the Giants versus the 49ers,
we know who wins that match. And we know who wins that matchup.
Exactly. And it took a miraculous fourth quarter comeback for the Giants to beat one of the worst teams in the league right now with Josh.
And did they even come back? We know the Cardinals are competitively tanking.
This is true.
So they made the call the same way McVay got the call to kick a field goal. Cardinals got the call, was like, hey man, let's lose this game. We need to go get Caleb Williams this season. So
we gotta cut these phone lines off to the field
for sure. All these phone calls being put in place. So I agree with that. I just don't see a way. And like you said, the Thursday night games, I'm not a fan of them. It does kind of help you buy time for like the fan, but then you get excited and then you watch the game, and we're typically, unless it's your team, bored during the Thursday night game. There's not a lot of great Thursday night games that take place. So I agree. I don't like it in general.
In the early ones, the offenses are never really good early in the season. So you put that on top of a short week where guys have already got some bumps and bruises or like they're hurt. It's just bad ball. It's either blowouts or the score's like 17-13, and it's just not entertaining.
Yeah, I do think this will be a little bit more high scoring on the San Francisco 49ers end. I think they will put up some points. I think this is an easy double digit. I think it's an easy double digit game.
Is Ayuk healthy? Is he good to play?
I think he's going to play. I don't see him on the. Oh, he's questionable. There we go.
He had a shoulder thing. He played the rest of the game.
He plays. So I think he will play unless something crazy happened or they want to rest him.
Right.
Who do we have out? We have a lot of people out, obviously, for the Giants. Even my guy Wan'Dale Robinson's on there, but I don't think he's going to do anything. Ojulari, he is out. Andrew Thomas is still out. So yeah, they're banged up. They're not a good football team, in my opinion. Maybe they'll prove me wrong.
They should have one good quarter.
Yeah, they should be 0-2, but they played the Cardinals, and like I said, they're soft tanking. So I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not looking forward to this game too much. I'm not a fan of either team in particular. So it is what it is. I will watch it, of course, because it's football, and we're gonna turn it on. I will say the line is San Francisco minus 10.5. How do you feel about the 49ers in that line right there? Are you going to take them again, or is this going to be another last second kick?
I think I may kick this one to the curb and stay away. I don't like betting Thursday nights, especially when the line's that big, because it could be 21-13 or something real ugly. Like it could just be an ugly game and they not hit it. So I'm gonna stay away. If I had to pick, I would take the 10.5. I think they're going to win by 14, 17, somewhere around there. And the Giants are going to score like 10 points and look awful again because they've had one good quarter, like 8 quarters.
Yeah. So I mean, that answers my next question. Who do you think was just going to win in general? So clearly, you think 10.5, you're going to pick the 49ers to win. Yeah, we'll watch it.
I'll definitely tune in.
I don't know. It's going to be your birthday. You may not watch it. You might be better off not watching it because it could just be a boring football game and you could probably do something better. on Thursday night and watch the Giants and the 49ers. But I think it'll be a good game.
I may
Purdy
check
will do
in to see what
good.
the score is and if I should tune in or not.
Yeah, yeah, probably. Yeah, just do your thing, bro. Do your thing. I don't think there'll be much to it. We have plenty of games on Sunday and on Saturday, college football to look forward to. So we could do that, man. But go ahead and wrap it up. Is there anything else that we need to touch on, or I think that's pretty much it, right? Or any last minute stuff that I need to know?
I feel like we're good. I feel like that's everything. All the main stuff, obviously, before the weekend starts. But shout out to Puka Nacua. He won me my fantasy league.
Did he win it? Okay.
He won my fantasy league last week.
He's starting to get a lot of love.
A lot.
Do you think he's for real? Do you think he's for real?
The thing that scares me is he's playing Cooper Kupp's position.
Yeah.
So it might be like we're going to target this spot in the system a lot. Mm-hmm. So I'm worried about if Cooper Kupp comes back and he's like halfway decent back in the spot, what's going to happen? Because obviously Cooper Kupp takes a lot of targets. But I mean, the dude looks legit. And he's like a 6th rounder or 5th rounder or something.
Yeah.
So
I got excited. I looked him up in Madden. Like, is he good? And he was like 86 speed. And I was like, nah, you're not Madden good. You're not Madden good. So I don't know. It's going to be tough. Oh, yeah. It could be a role thing. It's too early to tell, but he has looked good. I will say that he has looked good. So, shout out to him winning people fantasy games. My team losing people fantasy. I had Nick Chubb and Aaron Rodgers in the league, and that is league I'm in with you. Actually, that league's a wrap. Yeah, that's a wrap, bro. We're just we're competitively tanking the rest of the season over there. But that is everything for this show. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it. Leave us your comments in the comment section below. Leave this video a like. It helps me out a lot. And subscribe if you haven't already. It's DLloyd. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.